Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're so delighted to have you here for the Planetary Awakening Accelerator Q&A. Mark and Barbara, are you there? See if you can turn on your videos and audios and see if we have us all.
There we are.
I feel like I'm calling for attendance, are we here? Barbara is in attendance.
We are here.
Is Mark in attendance?
Is.
But we don't see your video yet, Mark.
Really, Barbara is much more worth seeing.
Oh, I think we're all worth seeing. Everybody is worth being seen. Do you have do you have video there? There he is.
There we are.
Excellent. Excellent.
Oh, look at that with the two women on one side and the man in the middle. This is perfect.
Oh my God.
I don't know how it looks on the outside. On my view, it's the two of us on the top and Mark on the bottom. I guess it depends on
I have us three in a row, but he's right in the middle.
Okay. All right. In any case, we are so delighted to be here with you all this afternoon, this Wednesday afternoon. Well, it's afternoon in California. I always go through this spiel. It's evening in New York on the East Coast. It's late afternoon in Colorado, and we are representing 3 time zones here. And I'm sure as all of you are joining in, you are all representing other time zones as well. We are a global community here, and we're so delighted. Again, thank you for joining us for the Planetary Awakening Accelerator Q&A. And let me give you a little overview on what's going to happen in this call. We're going to do just an overview of the call, and Barbara, Mark, and myself are going to give you the vision for the Planetary Awakening Accelerator. You've probably hopefully came to either Thursday or Monday's call where Barbara and Mark just really blew our minds and our hearts open with the 5 keys. It's just amazing. We were just having a little pre-talk about what came out of that call was, anyhow, it's something quite unique and beautiful and amazing, and we're delighted to be sharing it with you and to be in this with you, emergent in it with you. So we'll give an overview of the accelerator and go into line by line, sort of detail by detail, what we're going to be doing over the course of the year together, and also taking your questions, answering your questions. So if you do have questions, go ahead and click on there should be somewhere on your screen that says Q&A. I never know where it is on this end, and when I'm in the viewer portion, it always seems like it's in a different place, but there should be a little thing that says Q&A, and you can type in and submit your questions on the Q&A. That will be the easiest way for us to capture your questions all in one place. So that's where you do that, and we will be answering your questions towards the end. We expect that we'll be going for about 30 minutes or so to give you this overview, and taking the rest of the time, as much time as we need to answer your questions. So if that sounds good and you're in the chat, give us a thumbs up by saying yes in the chat, and we'll get going here. Are you ready, Barbara and Mark?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
I know. Evolution is flowing.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, so I want to kick this off today by sort of explaining to you what is an accelerator. Maybe you've heard of this term accelerator before. Maybe you've never heard of the term accelerator. What the heck is an accelerator? Well, in the world of startups, here I live in Silicon Valley, so I'm used to this terminology all the time. We have the accelerators and the incubators and the hubs and all of these types of things with startups. So we're really borrowing the concept of accelerator from the startup world. And as any entrepreneur will tell you, or anybody who's starting any type of initiative or movement will tell you, that just because you have a really good idea and you work really hard doesn't mean that you're going to have success as an entrepreneur. And we know that that's why 9 out of 10 startups fail. And accelerators were the response, were the sort of like came out of that, right? We know that 9 out of 10 startups fail, and accelerators are the response to that. So accelerators are really designed to prevent those types of failures from happening in business by giving new businesses the support they need to thrive in the marketplace. because new businesses don't just need a great idea and a lot of hard work. You need mentoring. You need structural support and resources in order to have a thriving business. So that's the idea of an accelerator, is to help these startups, to give them the mentoring and the structural support that they need. So in the same way that a good idea and hard work doesn't equate to generating lasting success in business, learning spiritual practices and techniques and taking training courses doesn't equate to knowing where your creative gifts are meant to be shared and used in an initiative. That's a tongue twister. And used in the world. So what happens is that a lot of people find themselves giving and giving and giving their gifts, but they do it within a context that might not be the best fit for their gifts. For instance, you might be working for a company that undervalues you, or you might be volunteering your time to an organization, but your creative gifts aren't really being expressed and nurtured there. So we just find that our creative gifts might not be used in the context that they're meant to be used in. And then in the same way that about 90% of startups fail, because they don't have the support that they need, most people fail to effectively direct their longing to express and give their creative gifts to something bigger than themselves, because they don't have the mentoring and the structural support that they need. So the Planetary Awakening Accelerator really solves and is the response to and the answer to that on these two critical levels. First, for those of you who are participating with us in the Planetary Awakening Accelerator, you're receiving the guidance of mentors who happen to be the world's leading thinkers and teachers in the realm of conscious evolution and unique self-enlightenment. We all know they actually literally wrote the books on it. So you will be working very, very closely with these two brilliant visionaries over the course of the next 12 months, and you're going to develop a very crystal clear, they're going to go into it deep in just a moment. You'll develop a really crystal clear understanding of where your gifts need to be directed, even if you already have an initiative or a movement, or you have a business that you're working with. So they're going to help you with that. And then the second piece of the Planetary Awakening Accelerator is that it does give you the structure and the context in which to share your uniquely creative gifts right now. So participants, as you participate in the accelerator, you're immediately connected to a community and a global movement, which we call the Planetary Mission, where you are making a significant contribution within a living lab to the evolution of humanity and the planet. So that's just my little spiel on why we call it an accelerator, and to maybe answer that question if you may have had that in the back of your mind. But what I'm going to do now is hand it over to Barbara and let Barbara give you her vision and in her words explain the accelerator.
Well, you know, accelerator is not only that I personally need that, but planet Earth needs an accelerator. It's really very interesting. We're born at an evolutionary crisis. We are told we have a very short time to make a shift from a devolutionary direction of overpopulation, pollution, climate change, or toward a future that actually nobody has fully experienced before. So the accelerator is in each one of us, particularly if we have in us that impulse to participate, that impulse to be more, do more, and create more as part of our planetary crisis. And I just want to say this little point. I believe we're very fortunate to be born at a time of such a crisis. Because when I was first born, you weren't even thinking that your particular gifts were needed to evolve the world. In fact, it would have been considered ridiculous if I had thought at the age of 15, 20, that my gifts were needed by the world. But now it's actually true. And so what's happening here, because we are members of the planet, is individuals everywhere are waking up. And they're waking up like you and I are to more life. The desire for more creativity, the desire for more love, the desire to play a bigger game, Mark calls it, the yearning to give our unique gifts and not sure what they are. And that's good because we don't fully know what an emerging world at a new crisis actually needs. And what we've come to the conclusion that they're scattered all over this earth, people becoming new humans. And by new humans, we mean people responsive to the new situation and wanting to accelerate their participation as part of the earth and to activate more of their deepest inner impulse to love, to create, and to be. So if you would do a planetary scan for this earth and see where the new humans are, they're everywhere. And this accelerator call is a call to the emerging humans to come together and share with Mark and myself, who are, you might say, we're new humans in practice. And we've been practicing in it for a long while. And the reason I'm teaching with Mark is that I have never met anybody whose inner coding of the direction of inner life and outer life was so similar to my own. And what happened to me in the meeting with Mark, I was about 85. Some people said, Barbara, why don't you retire and declare victory? Well, if I had done that, I would have died. So what happened was, by the sharing of these two codings, I got turned on again, and I realized there's so much more for me to give. So now, for everybody listening, you have two people, Mark and myself, who do that. First of all, for each other, and Mark and Lisa, you do it for us, and for everybody on this course. So what is the course going to be? It's going to turn on that impulse in you that is your divine creativity. It's going to reactivate in you what we call the telos, the direction of your life. It's going to give you a community of new emerging humans who are going to be able, through the resonance with you, to actually awaken you to the newness in yourself. I often say to people, because I've said yes to that inner impulse, I feel newer every day. And the reason I feel newer is the impulse is new. So whatever you've been doing, something is emerging in you, and that's why you would be at this course. And so we're going to start out with, I love Mark's phrase, with the evolutionary story, to show that we are all actors in 13.7 billion years of evolution. And every cell, every part of our brain, every part of our understanding, our thumbs, our hands, our bodies, all our cells are a resume of the whole story of creation. And in the first part, we're going to turn on to the fact of that impulse that was able to create a universe from nothing at all, is the impulse inside every one of us. So that when you get turned on to something to create, you're not doing it alone. If you realize you're part of the story, you're saying yes to the impulse that evolves the universe, and you begin to see you are the universe in person. It's a new identity. And when I realized from understanding Teilhard de Chardin and others that the direction that I was choosing, greater consciousness, more freedom, more complex, loving relationships and partners, I realized that's the direction of evolution. So the first part of this course is to empower us to realize we might feel small, we might feel ineffective, we might feel we can't do it. But the minute you realize your desire and your longing is evolution longing, you get empowered. Every longing I have, I can figure out, how is evolution in me longing for this? And if you say yes to it, you get turned on. However, class 2, you have a local self. You have a separate self, what Mark calls. And this local self is a critic. I had a local self that was a compulsive workaholic while I was preaching the positive future to everyone. And I realized one day, I can't put up with this. I will not put up with this type of criticism from my local self to me. And I began on the work to discover what it was in me that was already turned on that was making me want to go further, but feel compelled to overwork and to feel ineffective. And I had a local self that was criticizing me. And what we'll do in class 3 and 4, we'll tune in from that separated self to what I called, first of all, the essential self, the deep quality of your being, that when you're in touch with it, you feel at home. You feel at rest. You feel, I used to project that essential self out into the world as a master, a teacher, a Christ. And when I woke up and said, oh no, it's me. That's the awakening right in there. And then the birthing process in my book, Emergence, which I've taught never in an accelerator though, never with the sense of the goal that we're going to be a participation in evolution. What happens is that essential self is born in you, and you nurture it throughout this course until you get to the point of being able to see not only the essential self as that divine impulse, as your unique purpose in you, but you see it in others. You know that phrase, love one another as yourself. You can't love one another as an ego, loving another ego. They're not lovable. But so we will be accessing the essence of our being and being that way with each other. That's only part of the course. Then we go into what I call the universal self. This is a self that has a memory of the future. This is a self that's encoded with what you are becoming. It's like a newborn baby is becoming a lot more, because we've seen newborn babies. We know we're growing up. The universal self in me and you, which we'll do in a process called metamorphosis, will inform you what you are becoming, so that the future present will become who you are until you can embody both the essence of your being and the being that you are becoming, which Mark is calling an evolutionary unique self. And this human that arises here is the threshold of a new human. I feel it in myself. It has nothing to do with age. It has nothing to do with what job you have. It has to do with your essence. So when that starts to happen, this is about class 8, and you're becoming a whole self, a whole being. You're entering a new society that humanity has to create quickly. And we have a new map, which is called the Wheel of Co-Creation 2.0. 1.0 worked when I was running for Vice President of the United States. I said, let's put a map to find out what works in the world at the head of the Democratic Party. And I got nominated because it's a great idea. Now, Offices for the Future are attempting to self-form to identify, connect, and communicate with each other what's working in this innovative world. While we think things are failing, that's true. We're not aware of what's emerging because we don't realize that the news isn't just everything breaking down. The news is everything breaking through. So we're going to start collecting that through our Wheel of Co-Creation.
Right.
And every week, we're going to, once every month, we will all enter the wheel together. And in the wheel, each of us will be putting forward what we call a unique self symphony, which is the unique self that you are, will be offered within the wheel so that we can meet the others on this course and symphonize, so that what my unique gift is, Lisa, and what yours is, and Mark's is, and the people on this course is so glorious, actually. And that's when you get into evolutionary partnerships, evolutionary love, evolutionary co-creativity that is by far more enjoyable than doing whatever you're doing all alone. So in this course, we're going to be able to create evolutionary family.
Barbara, here's my question for you, love.
Okay.
If someone would take a 357 Magnum, Dirty Harry, right, and say, okay, make my day, or tell me what are the 5 benefits that you're going to get directly from this course, right? What would you tell them?
I would tell them you'll get to be your unique evolutionary self in union with others in order to help transform the planet. You will have.
Good. That's one.
Yes, that's one. Two, you'll have a new family. That three, you'll have a way to go back to whatever job or work you're already in and take a gift to that family, that work, because you can invite other people to see who they are, and you become a leader. You become a leader in your community, whatever that community is. And what's more, you're always can be staying as a member of the family that you begin in this course. This will never leave you. We are always with each other. And after 1 year, Mark, we don't even know where the world will be in 1 year. So as we graduate from this course, we're graduating each year into a slightly different world, which is not true for an ordinary course anywhere. Beautiful. So I think we are going to discover we are new humans capable of co-evolving with nature and co-creating with spirit and saying yes to the divine within as who we truly are. That's what I see. So you tell me, Mark.
Amen. Absolutely. With total delight, B. I think everything you said is so beautiful. And let me try and enter it just for a few minutes, love, just from a slightly different gate that are complementary. So Lisa will, of course, be talking about the structure of the course. 3 weeks a month and how the weeks work and what Barbara's doing, what I'm doing. But basically, there's 12 months, and every month is going to have a major theme. And each month, we're going to go through a transformation. And as each month, there'll be a significant transformation that will happen on 5 different levels. And that's really the excitement. That's the invitation, because the one thing that we can say with utter delight is that none of us are going to be the same coming out of this course than we were going in, and that we will actually be really just profoundly enhanced, right, on a number of different levels, so that the person we're going to be that shows up in a relationship, the person that we're going to be that shows up in community, the person that we're going to be that shows up in our place of work, if we have a place of work, right, is going to be a significantly different person. Not only in terms of our capacities, not only will our capacities change, and if they wouldn't, we wouldn't be doing this course. And it's the only reason we have to do this course. It is to offer, right, to the people that are going to join with us in this intimate planetary mission, planetary awakening accelerator. We want to offer a profound enhancement of capacity, right, as human beings, as new humans. And it's going to happen on 5 levels, so that we're going to show up as completely different people. Now, we talked about in the 2 calls, we talked about the 5 keys. And we talked about this kind of lingering depression, this dis-ease, this low-grade anxiety, the sense that it's not quite what it should be. Is this all there is? And we talked about 5 reasons for it. And the 5 reasons, which is, I was talking last night to one of the original heads of Masters and Johnson. We're talking about the etiology of depression, right? About the fact that more people feel incomplete in some significant way, right, than at any other generation in history. And the question is why? And we hit 5 primary reasons, all of which we're going to address in the course. So we're going to talk about, first key, a transformation of identity. And a transformation of identity, and Barbara, you were talking about some of the ways, right? 3 or 4 of the doors, right? Mm-hmm. 3 or 4 of the portals, right, through which that transformation will take place. And of course, there's going to be about 12 different portals, right, every month, in which there's an actual transformation of identity, because it doesn't happen in the wave of a wand. Transformation of identity is the most serious and delightful business of our lives. It's the business of self-creation. It's the place we become partners with evolution, right? And we're going to actually experience, what does it actually mean? Not as a word, but to have the evolution awaken as us in person. And then what happens is we're activated, right? Just like when we went from the pre-modern period, pre-Renaissance, to the Renaissance, and the Renaissance introduced an entirely new vision of identity. And the people that practiced, right, in the Renaissance, literally transformed their identity, and they activated, right? So the key word here is activation. Transmission is the teacher gives you something. And of course, there's always transmission, and it's important. But the goal is activation. So there's a transformation of identity, but then there's a deepening of worldview. And, you know, most adults stop growing at age 26. So if you think your worldview is set, you've got it all worked out, right, then you're basically dead. Right? To evolve is to actually deepen, profoundly transform and evolve worldview with game-changing insights from the leading edge that actually transform your worldview. So identity is the first source of joy. Identity is the source of joy. It's the source of energy that runs through us, right? A failure, when evolution stalls, I can't access my true identity. I don't have a pre-modern identity in my religion. I don't have a modern identity in the values of modernity, and post-modernity deconstructed my identity. So we talked about yesterday, 2 days ago, what happens is I lose my energy. I lose my life force. I'm deactivated. So we're going to re-engage identity and actually activate a new identity, which you can't do just in the mind. We're going to do it in a series of study, insight, practices, exercises, community. We're going to activate this new worldview, this transformational worldview, which is the evolutionary worldview, which although we may know a lot about, it's shifted. What Barbara taught 2 years ago, what I taught 2 years ago, is irrelevant. And that's the big thing. Barbara and I were talking before the course with Lisa, right? Barbara, you were talking so beautifully how what you taught in Agents of Conscious Evolution is not relevant anymore. And it's actually what I taught in the Unique Self course, not relevant anymore. As we've merged these memes together, we've seen a new synergistic emergent, something brand new that never was before, that actually enacts the new human in a way that Agents for Conscious Evolution didn't, and the Unique Self didn't. The Unique Self course didn't, right? And so the benefits of both are beautiful, but when they come together, that's actually how a new evolutionary emergent happens. There's something completely new in the world of identity that's not available through direct access meditation. It's not available through, right? And you can't get it in a 7-8 week course. We're going to actually spend a year and activate new identity and activate this new worldview. Then we're going to activate an entirely new set of practices, an entirely new set, right, of evolutionary meditations, right? A new engagement with what we're calling evolutionary prayer, right? A new engagement with a whole series of practices, which are literally the third key evolutionary practices, which also release entire waves of energy and joy, literally, right? Joy, energy, the shift of the mood, right? Which actually transforms me. And then we're going to engage this new map that we've never shared in the world before, which is Wheel 2.0, which again is a merging of memes, which creates this new emergent, which is so wildly activating, because we said a map is a symbol and a compass together, which activates us. And finally, we're going to engage evolutionary community. And we all may be in different communities, and many of us are, which are wonderful. And deep bow and honor to those communities. But when I'm not in an evolutionary community, it's what Desjardins said. Desjardins, that wonderful paleontologist who inspired both of us, Barbara, he had lots of communities. But he said there's an almost sensual longing to join a genuine evolutionary community where I actually transform, where I'm activated. So, you know, neither Barbara and I, you know, we don't live in the world of marketing. We can just tell you what's true, right? Which we're beyond ecstatic about, or we wouldn't be giving the course. What's true is, right, we will be activated together. We're going to come out different people, right? Which means that our capacities, right, our potential, right, our effectiveness, right, our joy, right, our ability to deal with our wounds will naturally shift, right? Our ability to impact will shift. Our ability to love will shift. And our ability to identify and give our unique gifts will shift, even if we think we're in the exact place right now. If you think you can do it alone or with a bunch of non-evolutionary friends, right, we've all tried that. It doesn't work, right? Or it works in a limited way. When we actually get together in evolutionary community, and here's the last thing, we're going to love each other. Right, we're going to love each other. We're going to create a genuine evolutionary community rooted in evolutionary love, and we're going to move down the field together, right? We're going to create relationships, you know, unlike any or like the best of that we've ever created, right? Which are going to have depth. And, you know, we were talking before, B, and I think what you said is so true, right? What's going to emerge from this are relationships which will last us a lifetime, and maybe even into the next lifetimes. And so the benefit in the sense of the transformation available, right, in terms of the gifts that we're going to receive, and as we move down the field together, the gifts that we're going to be able to give the planet together, right? As we synergize together, as we open up doors for each other, both doors in our heart, doors in our mind, doors in our practice, doors in our ability to use this new compass of Wheel 2.0 and really becoming masters of this new instrument, and doors of community. We're going to open up doors. Jim Morrison's going to have nothing on us. We're going to be all doors, right, are opening up. And so, wow, I mean, how wildly exciting in that. And I'm, you know, Barbara, you said so beautifully before on the call. Lisa, you said it in a different language. You know, I'm just moved. And I'm just moved by the momentousness of the possibility. And I think, you know, Barbara, if I can, with your permission, love, and with your permission, you know, dear Lisa, if I can speak for the three of us, we're staking our lives on this, right? This is not for us a program, right? And it's, we thought for a long time about this. We spend, you know, I don't know, hundreds of hours, right, in deep conversation about what's the offering that we think is absolutely critical at this moment in time that actually is worth our time, right? You know, we all, right, we've got limited time in this world, all of us. And we said, what is the highest, best exponential use of our time that can give the greatest, deepest gift? And our decision was to do it with an intimate group of people so that we can be activating and we together become the activators. So, wow, I just, honestly, I couldn't think of something just more gorgeous. So I'm just so honored, you know, and humbled and pleased and delighted to be there and overwhelmed. I mean, thousands of people signed up for the calls. And just really humbled by the process up till now and really moved by everything. So thank you, everyone.
You know, Mark, as you speak, I have a sort of bird's eye view of evolution, and it seems like evolution has called together a certain troop of people.
Yeah.
Who are seated with how to cross this gap in evolution from devolution toward conscious evolution. And we could be considered one of those special emissaries. You know, they say in evolution that the newness always starts in muddy pools of evolution. Right. It doesn't start at the top of the Empire State. It starts when you can hardly see it. Right. And I don't want to say we're going to be a muddy pool, but we're going to be a new emergence because never before has this come together. You have taught, I have taught, we're teaching together, and then bringing in Lisa with the business and the structures that she's able to add to us. I just like to offer that let's look at this as vitally needed by the evolution of our planet. We're called. And so this will be people with a calling for their own self-identity and growth, but for what they can give to the world. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And Lisa, thank you for everything you've done so far. And thank you, Mark, for being my partner in this. It's really a joy. It truly is. And we'll partner with each other who come on this course.
Right. And I want to stress that this truly is, like Mark said, we have put in hundreds of hours in discussions and how are we going to do this. And we know that it's grassroots where we're at. Like, we need it to be intimate. We need that. And so I want to take a moment just to, first of all, remind you, if you have any specific questions about the course or the structure of the course or anything like that, put those into the Q&A. I think Mark, it looks like, is chatting and getting some of the non-detail questions answered there in the chat. So I'm going to take a moment. I put the link to the sign up in the chat. I will do it one more time actually right now. Let me do that before I.
That's great. Thank you, Lisa.
Before I move on. Sorry, guys. Let's see.
That's awesome. Thank you, Lisa.
Here, without taking too much time.
You're doing great. Relax. No one's waiting.
Everybody's waiting.
There you go.
Okay, so the link is in the chat, and you can, if you want to click on that link, open up the page and we can sort of look at that together. I'll also have some stuff up on the screen here just to walk through this with you. I saw that some people actually didn't get to see our call, Barbara and Mark, on Thursday, so you didn't get to hear it. There's the replay is in our Facebook group, but also that link that I just put into the chat, you can watch the full replay of the 5 keys there, as well as sign up for the accelerator there. So we sort of did a 2-for-1 on a page there to save virtual paper, if there's such a thing. That was a really bad joke. So I wanted just to go ahead and dive in a little bit, like I said, to the structure of the course. As you may or may not know, both Barbara and Mark are endorsed by just amazing leaders of our time. Buckminster Fuller has said that there's no doubt in my mind that Barbara Marx Hubbard, who helped introduce the concept of futurism to society, is the best informed human now alive regarding futurism and the foresights it has produced. Deepak Chopra has said that Barbara Marx Hubbard has become the voice for conscious evolution in our time. Michael Murphy of Esalen has said that it's very rare that one comes across a teacher that is changing the game. My friend Dr. Mark Goffney is such a teacher, a rare combination of brilliance, depth, and heart. And Michael Bernard Beckwith, founder of Agape down in LA, has said that with exceptional brilliance and awakened heart, Dr. Mark Goffney speaks to all of us who are interested in the evolution of consciousness. His teachings on unique self-enlightenment are essential for the next stage of our evolution. And, you know, these are just a few of the type of endorsements that Barbara and Mark continuously get from other colleagues in this space. So they're, as you probably already know, they are just brilliant, brilliant teachers. And I can say from my own experience, and I said this the other day, there is an activation that happens when you work with Barbara and Mark in this capacity. I've worked with Mark for several years at this point, and I can say there's been a 180-degree turn in my life. Mark has seen that shift as well, and what's happened with me in my life, and that, and you know, the work that Barbara has brought into the Center for Integral Wisdom, and me being able to work with her closely over the last 12, 15 months has just been amazing. And there is, Mark alluded to it a little bit, but there's, what's needed is a transmission, an activation in order for us to get to that next level of human potential and planetary potential. And Mark, you sort of alluded to it a little bit, but I want to speak into it for just a moment. There is sort of this old school idea of transmission or activation where the teacher holds the power because they hold the transmission, right? But my experience of Barbara and Mark, and I can say this for myself, but also from many of the other people that have worked with both of them, is that they have sort of the evolution of teachers. They empower you. Their transmissions are empowering transmissions. And that is just one piece of what you get when you work with them closely, like you will be over the course of the next year. So let's go into just a little bit more about the accelerator and what is it? What does that mean? The Planetary Awakening Accelerator is the first ever social initiative to activate the evolutionary purpose, power, passion, and power of humanity towards a planetary awakening in love through a unique self-symphony. And the more specifics is that it is a 12-month program beginning May 18th. Now, when I say May 18th, that's actually our kickoff day. And then we realize that the next week is Memorial Weekend and that everybody is going to be gone. So our first official session will be that first Thursday of June. So we're starting with our kickoff on May 18th. Our first official session begins on June. I actually don't have the date in my mind. Barbara, Mark, if you're looking at a camera calendar and could tell me what that exact date is, we can let people know. It will be 3 to 4 live mentorship sessions per month with Barbara and Mark, which is over 60 hours of live time with them. So the way it works is it's going to be 1 week of deep mentorship with Mark, 1 week of deep mentorship with Barbara. Then we'll have 1 week of community with myself facilitating that. And then the 4th week will be a very special week, which is our social synergy, where you are getting in hands-on in-depth training on using Wheel 2.0 in your life, in your initiative. We'll also all be part of a private Facebook group, which becomes our virtual space, our community space, where we're gathering together and doing our work together between our sessions. You will have on-demand access to all of our replays. We know that not everybody can make every single session. We know that we're going a year, so there's times when you have a business trip, or you might be going on vacation, or you're sick. That's totally fine. We want to fit into the rhythms of your everyday life, and that's why we will have on-demand viewing. And then the final culmination of our year together will be a live gathering at Sunrise Ranch in Loveland, Colorado, which is where Barbara is joining us from right now. So we're very, very excited and grateful that we have that available to us to go to Sunrise Ranch. They hold those types of gatherings all the time. It's made for those types of gatherings. So the Planetary Awakening Accelerator includes, I just want to reiterate, includes intimate contact with Barbara and Mark. They're absolutely committed to knowing who you are, knowing your name, knowing your story, and working with you. So in those sessions, they're deep. You'll sit with them face to face in a group, so they will know who you are. It also includes the handouts, of course, and diagrams and worksheets that will all come with the resources that are going to come with the course as well. It includes the practices that you will need in order to activate your evolutionary identity. So if you watched the 5 Keys webinar that we did last week and earlier this week, that will be part of it as well, the activating those practices. It includes the training, as I mentioned already, on Wheel of Co-Creation 2.0. That in and of itself is like its own program. Barbara and Mark have created the wheel together. It's a merging of their 2 memes, and I don't think that anything like it exists or ever has existed before. So this is a totally new emergent and a new training that is within the course itself. It, of course, includes an evolutionary community, and Barbara and Mark talked in depth about that. That is one of the 5 keys. An evolutionary community is quite different than a regular community. Some people, say, oh, I belong to a Sangha, or I belong to a community. But they really made the differentiation between an evolutionary, as to what an evolutionary community is in the 5 keys. I recommend you go back and listen to that if you're not sure what that is. And it also includes a mission that you belong to, even if you are already part of a social initiative, if you're part of a movement, if you have a business that's doing something great. This gives you an even bigger umbrella, what we call the planetary mission. So you fit into that bigger mission. And then just a little bit more step-by-step here, we're going to be giving you a comprehensive step-by-step structure to effectively respond to the personal and collective crisis while becoming a powerful part of the solution. That is, in a nutshell, what we're going to be doing together over the course of the year. And I think you already can tell it goes way beyond teaching and mentoring you. You're going to be getting an immediate outlet for making the difference that you're destined to make in this lifetime. It's actually a living lab, an evolutionary community and a living lab that we're all participating in together over the course of the year. So if we break this down, and this is also on that page that I put into the chat there, we can just look at it one by one, because this is really, really important to understand this. The live mentoring value of that, of the course, is $6,000. So if you think about it, you've probably seen other courses out there that are $500, $700, but they're a 2-month or a 3-month course, and they probably have hundreds of people in the courses. You might not know the teacher face to face. They might not really know who you are and have that hands-on feel and intimate contact with them. In the accelerator, you're not only going to get that mentorship from one teacher, you get 2 amazing evolutionary teachers that you're working with. And to give you just an idea of the value of this, Barbara and Mark both charge about $25,000 to work one-on-one with them for the year. If you were to have just one session, it's $500 just for one session, a one-off session with them. So if you think about the value of what it would cost to work one-on-one with a teacher of their caliber, and let alone one teacher, you're getting two teachers at a value of $6,000. So it's an absolutely amazing, amazing value. And then we have the social synergy, which we've talked about before. This is the key part of the program where Barbara and Mark are dedicating that one session per month to training you in the work of the Wheel of Co-Creation 2.0. So it's something that we're going to be using within our community all the time, and you're getting the training on it. It's something that no one has ever had training on it, and you're going to be learning how to activate it, how to activate that map in your life. You're going to be learning how to activate that map in your community. So that's what these social synergy sessions are all about. That in and of itself, like I already mentioned, is in and of itself a whole course, a value of $19.97. And then we have an online hub, a resource hub, which is not only where you're going to get your on-demand access to all of our replays, but I convinced Barbara and Mark that we need to also give everybody who's participating in this Living Lab, the Planetary Awakening Accelerator with us, we need to give them resources. So I asked Barbara and Mark to really hand select what are the resources from your personal vault of goodies. What is it? What are those things that you think that people need? And this is literally, again, like getting private access to a vault of their resources that they've accumulated over the course of the years and years, decades and decades of their teaching. I didn't even know actually what type of value to put on this. So I valued it actually quite low at $19.97. And then finally, we have the live gathering that everybody is going to be going to. And at Sunrise Ranch, the value of the live gathering, we're going to be selling those tickets to the public. So it will be a culmination of our time together plus a public gathering. And those tickets are going to be sold to the public for $997. You're getting that for free when you are a part of the course. So the accelerator itself, we're giving you, we really talked about how can we make this accessible to everybody. We wanted to make it accessible because the value of it, I should go back there, the value of it is about $11,000, but we don't want to make it inaccessible to people. We want to make it accessible. It's just part of our principles. It's part of our values, is to get as many people in this who want and need to be in it right now and know and feel the evolutionary yes within themselves. So we wanted to give you a break on that, and we decided that we would give you a 65% savings on joining the accelerator right now. So you can join right now for just $329 per month. I did put, again, that link is in the chat. So if you're not already on that page, the big sign up button is right in there, but it is bit.ly/planetary accelerator. There is something that I found out about just a couple days ago, and this doesn't unfortunately apply to everybody, but if you are a US resident, I found out about something pretty cool that PayPal does, where you can start now. You can actually join the program right now and not pay for it for another 6 months if you use the PayPal.
Wow, that's great.
Isn't that pretty cool? What I did is I put it on the order form, and then I also put on the sign up page a little video how you actually use the Bill Me Later option. So you can actually get started and join us today for nothing, for $0, and not pay anything for 6 months. So again, there are some restrictions that apply, and I believe that it is limited to US residents, but that's something that you can take advantage of. So again, it's $329 per month, or if you're a US resident, you could take advantage of that PayPal Bill Me later. And then I also want to mention that there is a fast action bonus for the first 20 people that register, that decide to join us. And we actually are getting registrations are starting to come in pretty quickly now. So I would get on it. If you are even thinking, yes, I would click that button because the fast action bonus is going fast. You will get access to the Evolutionary Business Accelerator. This is something that came out of my work. This is sort of just an emergent that came out of my work with Mark over the years of working with him. So the Evolutionary Business Accelerator is a program that I created to help you create a sustainable and thriving business or organization or initiative through really efficient and effective marketing and communication business systems. Your work in the world, whether you're wanting to make money or not make money, it doesn't matter. You have to be able to communicate the work that you're doing in the world and your mission in the world through effective communication, and that requires some systems and processes to do that. And that's what the Evolutionary Business Accelerator program does. And I have taught this to small business owners, primarily conscious business owners at a $5,000 value. So you're getting that for free if you're one of those first 20 people. So that adds another $5,000 onto it, making the value of this course up to $16,000. So, and we will have some other unannounced bonuses as well. We also want to let you know that there's a 30-day guarantee, no questions asked for 30 days. So you do get, if within the first 30 days you decide, okay, this program isn't a good fit for me, we don't really think that that will happen, but if for any reason it does happen, you will get no questions asked. We'll give you your money back for those 30 days. So again, it's over 65% savings on the full accelerator, only 12 months of $329 per month, or you can take advantage of the PayPal no pay for 6 months. So we would love to see you there. I'll make sure I put that link back into the chat box for you. And I'm gonna stop my share and go over and see if we have any questions coming up. It looks like, Mark, you've been taking care of the questions in the chat, yes?
Just any kind of little things that kind of came up, but you know, I think that, you know, the point you made before, Lisa, right, which is, you know, the people that Barbara and I do private study with over the years, you know, we're trying to, Barbara and I now, to really focus on writing kind of a great library. You know, there's a couple of key culture changing books that we're really focusing on. So we're taking just a couple of private students, but a private student, right, is, you know, we do once a month private student, 60 minutes is more than the accelerator, right? You know, it's $350, $400, you know, it's somewhere between $350 and $500, depending who the person is. And we take just, you know, a few people, right? The accelerator, which is why we started it, is far more potent. Right? The accelerator, you're talking about 3 sessions a month, sometimes 4. You're talking about a fabulous community. We're working together in community. We've developed a very, very, very rigorous 12 stages that we're going to go through. Right? And so the benefit of it, right, the transformation, right, available, right, without in any way, you know, undermining, you know, the delightful work we do with a few private people, this is far better. It just is, right? You know, you'll be working with Barbara and myself, right, and right, doing an entire series of exercises with Lisa. There's going to be, we just had Neil Donald Walsh at church. There's going to be like 10 fabulous, like leading people from around the world will be joining us as guests over the course of the year. And you're going to be kind of, you know, that kind of community where you just know that community, being part of that community just opened up, again, I said it before, but it opened up doors in our hearts and our minds, and actually doors to other human beings, and synergized and created new possibilities. So if I had to sum this up, it's the change that changes everything. It really is. It really is the change that changes everything. But it's the time when I stepped up, you know, gifted myself, right, and things changed. And I am not in the slightest, or not even one little bit, you know, shy about, you know, really giving you a massive invitation, because, you know, if I didn't believe this was the most important thing in the world, I wouldn't be doing it with Barbara, right? You know, I'm so delighted, Barbara, I just want to say the last thing, just to be doing this with you. I mean, what a complete and utter delight, and what a year this is going to be. Yeah, so thank you, everyone.
And, you know, I feel the same way. because merging memes, as we'll do with each other and with some of the people who will be in this class, you get to be so much more by doing it. So it's not only what we're giving, but what we're receiving. And I want to add a thought that we haven't really emphasized, is that when we say a planetary awakening in love through a unique self symphony, we're not only talking metaphorically, we're talking about events. We're talking about building up towards world experiences where we can use the internet to have people express their uniqueness and shift consciousness on Earth. So we're mobilizing for the personal, the intimate social, but also for the planetary. And for example, there's a big musical event here at Sunrise Ranch that Mark and I are going to participate in. It's called Arise. And we're saying to this Arise Festival, let's make it into a unique self-symphony for a planetary awakening and have the music and the people sharing their unique gifts to the whole as a symphony. Now, who knows what that does? Who knows what calling ourselves together at a time of planetary crisis and shift points, because if you are in a shift point, small things make the huge difference. So I want everyone to know that not only will you be coming with Mark and myself and Lisa and yourself, but all your family will get to be affected. All the people that are your friends, the people that you work with, you will find yourself inevitably having to be a leader. And you're going to have to share. They'll say, what have you been up to? It's not so easy to say, oh, well, I feel I'm becoming more newer, this or that. So we're going to send you out to wherever you're going to see how you do, and then come back in and report. And then you may also have more that you want to start in whatever community you're in. You may want to bring a wheel into that community. You may want to become an evolutionary communicator. You may want to found a little group of people to work with so you're not doing it alone. So I think that you have to look at yourself when you come into this as getting everything that you need and then seeding the culture. And because Mark and I have vast levels of communities and people that we've worked with over the years, you also will be coming into the community of leaders that we've been able to know and find and be with. So when we get to Sunrise Ranch, and we have to say it's a very special place, it's in Loveland, Colorado, founded by the Emissaries of Divine Light. And they invited me there in order to host a planetary awakening. And there are 100 people who work there, and they're all going to be participating in hosting a new thing on Earth. And we're seeing it as a way for communities to grow. So when you come and you're here with us for a year and then you end up at Sunrise Ranch, you don't have any idea what's going to happen.
No, absolutely. Besides having a fabulous weekend at the end of the year, and maybe just one last thing. You know, some people will go out and start a small group in the community. Other people, right, and that may be you listening right now, you're going to do exactly the same thing you're doing now, but your intention and your identity and your insight will profoundly change. And that shift in intention will completely change the quality and experience, right, of your life, your love, right, your interior, right, on 1,000 different levels. So if you're listening, you're saying, well, I don't think I want to start a community with 3 people. I don't do that. Well, you might not. That might not be your unique invitation. But the shift in intention that will happen and the increase in joy, right, the increase in vitality, right, the increase in heart, right, the deepening of heart, right, the increase in soul that will happen through participating for this year, that by itself, right, is the change that changes everything. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, let's love ourselves, you know, and let's come and let's do this together. Let's really do this together. Lisa.
Yeah, I just wanted to take questions because we did say we would take some questions. So, so there's a question about, are there plans for a year 2, or what about next year? What would either of you say to someone who's thinking, I'll get in next year, or is there even going to be a next year?
Well, there may be a year 2, but the plan right now is to run this once, right? And we want to run this once, right? We're making no commitment to run it after this year, but we're utterly committed to this year, right? And we're not going to offer it afterwards, right? We're not going to package it. That's not our intention. We want to offer it as we'll offer all the sessions to the people who will be there. So you'll have that as part of your, peace, transformation, effectiveness, love arsenal, right, in the world. But our intention is really, it's about this year, right? It's about now. Now, could there be a year 2 for the people in the first year? That's a whole different conversation, right? But this is a one-time, this year, this is what we're doing. There's no sense of afterwards right now. Let's be in this year.
Right. And what I would say to anybody who might be on the fence and thinking, should I or shouldn't I, is if you're even in that position of on the fence, that's the evolutionary yes, in my opinion. That's the yes to go for it. We're always going to come up against some little thing and reasons why not. My background is also as a coach, and we can always come up with reasons why not to do something. But the harder thing is to come up with reasons why to do something. That's what an evolutionary does, is they come up with reasons why to say yes. And
how to break the inertia. And how to break the inertia, right? To be or not to be, right? Right? Life is more than a tale told by an idiot, full of sounds and fury signifying nothing, right? We are going to step onto the stage together, and we are going to knock it out of the park together.
We will. Oh, sorry, did you say?
I said sorry for interrupting.
Oh, yeah. It's okay. Mark and I always have this thing because we always interrupt each other. One other question that we did have, and I just want to address this here, is people have been asking us about scholarships. So my request on that is, if you are, if you're someone in that category, we do not right now have a plan for scholarships, but I am happy to talk with people individually if you want to come up with, if you need help with a payment plan, if you're on the fence, if you're not sure, let's just have a talk. I'm not going to try to sell you into anything. I just want to be here for you as a sounding board. So I put my name and my email address into the chat. If you just need to talk a little bit more about it and feel like, okay, I just want to talk this out a little bit more, I'm happy to do that with you.
That's great.
I just wanted to let you know that too.
Great.
I'll tell you another thought is that if you get excited about this and you decide that you should invite a friend, you can tell them all about it. All of this is recorded because it's exciting to go with a friend.
Totally. That's great.
It really is. And I have found in my teaching, if anybody can bring at least one other person with them, then when they go home and they work together, it helps. So think if there's somebody, a relative, a friend, whatever, and invite them.
Right. No, that's fantastic. And if you don't, you're going to make some fabulous friends.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
That's right. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. And again, if you have any questions, you can submit them to me personally. I put my contact info there. You can ask in the Facebook group. We're happy to get you there. Hopefully, you're already on the page, on the bit.ly/planetary accelerator page. And you can just join right there and be one of those first people to get one of the fast action bonuses. So we have our kickoff next week, next Thursday, and we look forward to seeing you there with us.
And June 1st will be the first real week.
Is that the Thursday?
June 1st.
Okay. Thank you, Mark. Awesome. All right, everybody. Great to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Love you. Love you, Lisa. Thank you, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.
I love you all.
Marvelous and wonderful opportunity for all of us. Thank you.